Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk Relationship. And I am so excited to be here today. We have a wonderful guest from all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not wrong, but she's originally from Massachusetts. And we have an interesting topic, a topic that a lot of women and men discuss all the time. And the topic, of course, is relationships with an alpha woman. And for you ladies out there, this may help you identify whether you are an alpha woman. And gentlemen, this might help you to identify whether you are in a relationship or contemplating to be in a relationship with an alpha woman and how you can navigate through this. So today's guest is the wonderful Gianni Bansfield, who was born in Massachusetts, but she is a mother, wife, and businesswoman. She's had various careers from being a hairstylist to being a VH1 Love and Hip Hop, which I'm not sure what that is. I'm interested to find out. And working in the Food Network and also personal development. And now she's into digital currency. So Gianni has experienced a lot of situations being an alpha woman. And today she's going to talk about her experiences as well as helping men empower themselves to be able to navigate through these relationships while still remaining, still maintaining a happy relationship as well as being true to yourself. So without any further ado, I am going to bring on in Gianni Bansfield. Hi.
Hi. Hello. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
I'm
Thank
pretty excited to
you.
have you on the show. I'm so excited, and yeah, this is going to be a great conversation because this is something that a lot of people, not only men but women, uh, talk about being a alpha woman. And what is an alpha woman? So
Yeah.
before we go on, just tell us a little bit about your background because you've got an interesting career path, a bit like mine. You've started off as a hairstylist, so I can really relate to you there. So
Yes.
just quickly tell everybody who you are and what you're doing.
So, hello, everybody. Oh, I'm so happy and grateful to be here. Truly am. So basically, a little bit of my background. I come from Massachusetts, the birthplace of basketball. But it started off as a child. I really loved hair. I started around 13 years old, and I just adventured off until the age of 23 and was like, you know what, let me make this a career. And I was like, I wanted to work behind the scenes. So where it came in the Love and Hip Hop and the Food Network was because I got the opportunity at a point in time to work behind the scenes, something that I always wanted to do. And then I went off to New York. I lived there for a year. I experienced it. I tried doing my modeling career too at the same time. So that was very different. Um, and it just wasn't what I expected. And I was also going through a lot of changes in life. I lost my mom at an early age. So it was a lot of difficulties in trying to figure out who was Gianni, right? Where did I stand and what were like my morals and my values and things of that nature. So it was a lot of character building, right? So fast forward, I basically left New York, moved back home, started working in Boston, and I worked in a really upscale salon out there and kind of switched from here to a couple different salons. And then I met my husband. Let's
Ooh.
fast forward like 6 or 7 years actually from like getting into like getting the license of being a cosmetologist. And 7 years later, I met my husband. And it's been a beautiful situation. Um, and let's just say he is an alpha all the way. He's a total alpha. But I just love how he allows me to be who I want to be. And I feel like over times, we definitely used to. I'm like, hi. I'm like all distracted because my godmother's on watching, so it's amazing.
Hi, Audrey. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you.
Hello, hello. So yeah, so going back into him, he is an alpha, and he has put his guard down as a man, to
Mhm.
allow me to step into the woman that I, know who I am. It's taken a lot for me to get there, but it's been absolutely amazing for me on this journey. And how did I get to crypto? So we got
Okay,
married. I'm
so
like,
before we go on, I just want to
like,
quickly elaborate on the alpha woman, because I think there's a bit of a confusion as to, what both men and women think an alpha woman is. Okay, so first of all, what's your obviously you feel you're an alpha woman, right? You do obviously feel that
yes.
you're a strong, powerful alpha woman. And what do what's your definition of an alpha woman like for you?
So my definition for an alpha woman is someone that really like stands their ground, keeps their word, says what they're gonna do, and just is held accountable for whatever it is that she wants to do, and there's nothing, and it's no disrespect to the man. There's nothing, that like that I can't accomplish.
Hmm.
My mother to me was alpha, like all the way. And I feel like every time I step into this new person of who I know I was always meant to be,
Hmm.
has helped me become that woman of standing my ground, loving myself, knowing who I am internally, and being okay to speak up and say whatever it is that I want to say, and not feel as if um not be so, like, I guess, unapologetic, I guess, about it.
Hmm.
You can just stand your own and just be confident with it.
Right. Right.
Dictating, having a dictatorship in a sense, but having a sexiness to it,
Right. Yeah. It's
and
still
and still being feminine.
a feminine flair to it, right?
Yeah,
Because
like a feminine flair to it. And I so I don't want to jump to the crypto part, but going into the feminine flair in it, I mean flair with it, as far as it being, it's so hard because I've always been an alpha person, because I always feel like I've always been in control.
mm,
And now the roles have switched because my husband's like in control, and I'm
okay.
building a whole new career right now, right?
Right.
So it's hard because I've always had this model of I pay the bills, I can do what I want, but now being newly married, it's like it doesn't go like that anymore.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
there's new things that I'm learning and
Mhm.
new things that he's learning, but it's my thing, as it's still okay to speak, in a manner where it's you hear me and he doesn't get offensive. In the beginning, he did get offensive, and it was just more of this, I guess, stigma of a man is supposed to lead continuously. And it's
Mhm.
just like, yes, he can lead, but I'll follow, but I can also lead as well. Maybe if we communicate a little, his way and my way put together could actually be something better. Or maybe my way was something better. I
Mhm.
don't always feel like it has to be male, 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 male.
Right. Right. Well, let's face it. Okay. Let's face it. It's not hard to recognize an alpha female, I would say. I mean,
Mm,
I think men recognize them, and also women with women. We can identify who's an alpha female. So,
yes.
as a definition, or as well, I've kind of like put together what, doing my research, obviously, she's a strong, independent woman. Okay. She can come across fierce and confident because we know what we want, right? We're go getters. And I think, even speaking for myself, being an alpha woman, we know what we want, and we simply, don't want others to overpower us. I think we like to, work as a team, but, not be submissive to everyone. I think that that's where an alpha woman
That you said
sometimes,
that so beautifully.
yeah, because it's not about, we can be submissive. I mean, as an alpha, we can, but not where we're caged or controlled and caged in. Because a lot of the
Right,
times, I don't know whether you've had this experience before, Gianni, but men are attracted, to us alpha women, but then they want to cage us. They're attracted to our qualities, but then can't handle our strengths at the same time. That's not all, okay? I'm not generalizing here. This is some of the experiences I've had. But yeah, she has an aura about her. She oozes
right.
power, authority, and this alpha woman is also irresistibly sexy. That's what makes a feminine alpha. Now, some men, unfortunately, relate alpha women to this really strong, dominant, that has no feminine qualities. But let's face it, gentlemen, a sexy woman can have alpha qualities, don't you
Absolutely.
think? Yeah,
Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. I think it's like you said, it's just there's just something sexy about it, you know? And she can hold her own. She can stand on her 2 feet. So I love that. I really truly do. And then the like you said, the confidence behind it, and standing your own ground and being so unapologetic about it, because people
exactly.
can make you feel, you know, like you're wrong for standing your ground. And it's just
Yeah,
like, no, I have a voice as well. And I don't want you to feel like you can cage me in, like you're saying. Because I've been there, and I feel like I stand my ground now solely because I've been there in life, I've been in an abusive relationship way in my early 20s where now I'm like, I have to speak up. I learn from every situation. And it's just like, I have to speak up for myself. Like I've always felt it internally,
mhm,
but now it's
mhm.
like really like I voice it.
Yeah,
And I'm a
strong.
Gemini, so I'm all about communication.
Yes, strong Gemini, fantastic. So let's just acknowledge we've got Audrey. We've also got Pierre. Pierre says, "Hi, Stefania. Hi, Pierre. Thanks for joining us." He has a little comment. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you want to comment, please do while we're live or even afterwards. Hashtag replay. But Pierre says, "I agree. Both can lead on and off." Yes,
Yes.
where you can have two strong personality types, an alpha man and an alpha woman, but I feel it has to be a compromise. It has to be this listening and, reciprocating communication to and fro, because if it's not, it doesn't work. It's only going to be pulled one way. And as Audrey says, she says it's a shared relationship. Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
Yes.
I agree. A shared relationship. So, Audrey, tell me. So, how long have you been married now for? Or how long have you been with your
Me?
husband?
Oh,
Yeah,
we've been 2 years, and actually June 15th this year will be 2 years.
fantastic. So, prior to that, were you dating for a long period? Like, because obviously
We were
that
dating
I
for
impact.
a, we were dating for
Sorry.
like a 3 year period.
Threes. Okay. So even though that's not marriage, I still encapsulate that as part of the relationship, because that's also where you're learning about each other and connecting and finding out, what works and what doesn't work, right?
Right.
So, um, share with us some of the experiences you had. You said you were, you're, and which you still are, a strong, independent woman, but you've had to change your ways a little bit to kind of flow with the relationship as well, because not that you have to change completely, but there's got to be some kind of flow and compromise. Would you agree with that when you're sharing a relationship with someone else?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was definitely a learning thing for me. I just remember when we first started dating, it was like it was as simple as let him have a drawer. And I'm like, why would I let him have a drawer? So this is the conversation I was having with the older woman. And she was like, just let him have a drawer. And I was very, very
Hang on a minute.
I don't.
Let's just clarify that. Let him have a drawer, as in a drawer of your cupboards. Is that what we're
Yes,
talking
a
about, right?
cubby.
Okay,
Yes, a
yeah,
cubby.
okay. Just so we can clear
Um,
that. Some.
yes, yes, yes. It was like, let him have a drawer. And I'm like, well, I'm like, oh man. So it was little things like that. Just let him have a drawer. And then it was just like him coming over and spending the night, then him really taking the initiative and um, just doing thing as a man, and it was just like, okay, this is so weird, but all right, it got to a point where I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to figure out the word I'm trying to say, but I was so just pushed off. Like I didn't want a man to take care. So I was someone from outside looking in was basically like, you're very bitter right now. And I was just like, wow. I'm like, you really feel that way? They're like, yeah. There's like, step back and take a look at yourself. And I had to really step back and really analyze what I was going through. And I was just
Mm,
like, wow. And I was just like, okay, so we get into the relationship. I give him a chance. And honestly, it's been the best thing ever. Like I've been able to put my guard down in certain areas. It hasn't gone, it's gone down a lot than what it used to be.
mhm.
But what I mean, my guard was always up because the tables is turned is where, like I said, I'm building a whole new career. So I'm in a whole nother state. Earlier you mentioned Atlanta, Georgia. I no longer live in Massachusetts where I had a clientele, where I had, money. So now I'm in a whole new state where I don't have a clientele. I'm building, an organization of, people that love crypto and things of that nature. And this is where the tables turn in the sense of like, I feel like I still don't have as much authority because I can't, um, I guess, give as much as I used to. Right now, I'm
Mhm.
just solely giving me as a wife, as a mom, where I'm so used to giving myself as a mom, as a wife, and also as a provider. Do you get what I'm saying? And
Yes, yeah.
where that's where I feel like a alpha women, or just women, period, we really hold down a big part of everything. We
Mhm,
can work, take care of our husbands, take care of our kids, and still come home and take care of the household. I'm
mhm,
not used to being where I don't go out to work. You know, right now it's just like creating this new skill, learning
mhm,
this whole new market,
mhm.
and um
Having a supportive man, right, to support you
yes,
through that.
having a supportive man to do that for me, it's very different.
Mm. So just before
It's
we
very
go further
challenging.
on, yeah, okay, because we're going to get to that. But before we get to that, so just share with us, Gianni, with your experiences. Like, obviously, what would you say to men out there, from a woman's point of view, how to handle, you know, a woman like yourself, like ourselves, where we you're entering a relationship which she is very strong, and you said in the beginning, he said, have a look at yourself. You're quite, what did he say? What were the exact words he said? You're
Oh,
quite
have a look at yourself, like really have a look at yourself, and he said, you're
resistant or something. Was it that? I can't
no,
remember.
no,
He
no.
said
Oh
something
my
along
gosh,
the line.
you are, oh my goodness.
I got it before, but I just can't remember. Like, you're hard on yourself. You're not allowing anyone into your space, because
Right.
that's what can happen, right? An alpha woman,
Resistance. Yeah. You're
resistant,
being resistant.
right? Because being an alpha woman, we can get resistant, or even or a woman that's strong and knows and knows her worth. She will be resistant because she'll feel like some of that is taken away. So, what would you
Right.
say to men? Okay, that are really into their woman, and she's a strong personality type. She's got all the qualities you want, but she's very, you know, resistant and alpha like. How to tackle that situation? I mean, your husband obviously came straight out with, or at the time he was your boyfriend, he said, you're very resistant. Have a good look at yourself. Um,
Mhm.
Tell me, how did was that a good thing? Because sometimes, strong women need that challenge. I feel that they do. They
Yeah.
some say, oh, you're better off with a beta man, but half the time No, because we need that
No.
challenge, but we need that balance of a man that's going to be, yeah, share your views. I don't want to talk anymore.
So, I feel like just be compassionate. Um, have definitely communication is huge. Like
Mm,
communication is like the biggest thing. Um, definitely hear, like really, really hear her, listen to her. Like I
right.
feel like men don't listen, like, and that was like my biggest thing in the beginning. Like, listen, can you please just hear me? Like, listen to what I'm saying. And I feel like once you really listen and pick, because all honestly, all it has to do is if you listen to us speak and we say certain words or just pick up on certain things, and then so that when we talk back to you, you can then share certain things that you heard and we'll actually feel like you're giving us the attention that we need. I feel like sometimes men, um when we say something as a alpha woman, it's taken in such a certain manner, and where I feel like men are so controlled by their emotions. It's like I don't mean it the way you're taking it. You're just driven right now by your emotions because you just didn't like something I said right now. And that's what's really bothering you. It's not the principle or anything about it. It's your emotions are driven by me, saying what I'm saying. So I feel like if you can really just hear me and understand the situation, I feel like it can be so much better for a man that's an alpha. Put down your guard as a man. Come down a little bit, show your vulnerability, be a little
Mm,
vulnerable, because I feel like men don't want to be vulnerable, and that's something that I've also experienced in a past relationship. Um, with my daughter's father, I felt like he wasn't vulnerable. So it pushed me away.
yes.
Um, and I feel like as an alpha man, it's okay to be vulnerable. I feel like there's this stigmatism where it's like you're a man and men don't cry. So don't cry. And it's just like, no, men can cry. It's okay to cry, you know?
Mm, mm. And
So I
I think through to a woman that shows a lot of strength. I think men fear that vulnerability because they fear that the woman is going to take advantage of that. But it's not the case. If you're with the right woman, I always say she's not going to take advantage of that. She's actually going to
right,
see that as a strength in
a
you
strength.
because you're able to let your guard
Well,
down.
vulnerability is a strength though.
Hmm.
I think people fail to realize that being vulnerable is a strength because you're giving up your power to allow someone else to see your real you. It's a stress reliever off of you. It's something that you was able to get off and you was able to get come. I feel like when you're able to talk about something, it's a weight lifted off your shoulders, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what you talked about how we just want our men to listen, okay? I mean, we want them to talk as well. It's not like we don't want you to talk. We want you to talk, but we want you to listen and also not dive into the fix it, I think, because
Right.
it's sometimes we need that pair of ears and the understanding part. Sometimes we don't understand. Even as a man, I'm sure, us women, we are difficult to understand. Let's face it. I even agree. Sometimes I even find myself hard to understand. Why did I do that? Why am I thinking like this? So imagine a man looking in, right? So as a man, I always say, get curious. If you're not understanding something about your woman, don't just presume or generalize or distort because sometimes we can do that because we're not asking questions, we're not getting curious.
Right.
So I think an important factor part of the communication is asking with curiosity, being a little childlike. I always say get childlike because children like to ask why. I don't understand that. can you explain that a little bit more? So that
Right.
opens up another door that, hey, as a woman, we're thinking, oh, he's curious. He really does care. He wants to know a bit more about what I'm, holding on to or being resistant to and don't want to let out. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yes.
I would say, gentlemen, get curious. Get curious and ask questions, and be in be able to communicate that, so that relays understanding as well to a woman. Definitely.
Mm.
So what else? What other challenges did you run into that you would
Um,
sort of share with men that they could possibly do differently? The money factors, I think, is a big one, because
the
as
money
a
factor is a huge one.
right,
It
being a
is a huge one
strong
because go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to reiterate, being a strong personality type, that you've been independent, self-sufficient, providing for yourself, or, your family, children, if you've got children,
Right.
for those alpha women. How does a man step in to be still, strong, compassionate, but yet not overriding a woman, an independent woman, and making her feel like he's taking everything away from her. Because ultimately, all he really wants to do is help. Okay, because we got to look at it from a man perspective. He does want to help, and we understand that. But
Right.
how would you say, to a man to still do that, but in a way that you know isn't
Well, one, I
squashing?
don't think you can tell a man to do that. I feel like he's gonna do it regardless. I would never tell a man to do something because I just don't believe in that. I just really feel in my heart if a man is going to do something, he's going to do it regardless. Um, and it's really because he really wants to do it. And my my issue, not my issue, but my problem right now is just like you said, being in that position where I grew up that way. My mother was a very, very independent person. So it was instilled in me to don't rely on anybody. And this is for me, like I said, to be in a moment in life where I'm not where I used to be financially, and knowing that I pretty much gave up everything. I moved to a whole new state. I gave up my place. I gave up everything that I've known to start a whole new life. Um, and I'm just trying to figure out like how can I feel like it takes time. You
Yeah.
have to it really takes time. Um, because it can't just happen like that. There was still so many like don't men, how can I say that? Basically, like don't take it. Like, don't be so offended by it by a woman if she still has like little guards up. If there are little things, and it's just because you don't know what hurt she's been through. You don't know what she's been through in life. So to keep up this wall, and like I said, it takes time. And if you're consistent, it's basically like you have a plant. You have this plant, and you're taking care of this plant. And eventually, this seed, I should say, it starts off as a seed first, and it eventually is going to grow. You're going to keep watering it. You're going to keep taking care of her. You're going to keep, and then at some point, she is going to blossom, right? She is going to be like, wow, he actually stuck by me. He actually stood with me through all of these challenges or all of these things that I am dealing with. And he's actually able to see that I'm better, and eventually at some point I'm going to be able to let down my guard, right? Because that's the initial goal, to be able to have her let down her guard. Because if we don't let down our guard, it's like you miss out on so much in life. You really do, because we have this force wall that no one can get through. And it's just like what is the issue? So it's like having to deal with that issue at hand. So I had to figure out like what was my issue, what was my fear, because that's all it is, you know. But then once you let that guard down, I feel like so much more can be accepted in, and you can still remain that alpha though.
Yeah, yeah. And also for a man not to be intimidated, because I think too sometimes what happens, a strength of a woman can be a little bit intimidating. Have you
It
had
can
that?
be.
Yeah.
I've had so I've actually it was very heartbreaking. And I was actually told like I don't want to be seen with you because I just don't feel like I'm to your of caliber. And I was just like, well, what do you mean by that? And and it was crazy because we were actually together for a while, and it was just like, I was just like, my thing is like, I didn't look at you in that way. Like I mean, I loved you. I loved you, you know what I mean? And I accept you for who you are. So why? And he was just like, I just don't feel like I look a certain way or this, and that, you know what I mean? And it was just like, that was really a lot. And that was different for me. And I feel that's another thing that I struggle with sometimes. I feel like people look at me and think a certain way. And that's another thing that's so frustrating. And it's just like before you even judge, like just take a chance to get to know me, take a chance to really unfold the book, open it
Mm,
up, see what this
yeah,
person's about. And I had to learn that in life. I had to like not prejudge, you know. So yeah,
definitely. I
like
think, that's a very valid point there, Johnny. I think a lot of the times, whether it be male or female, it's not just men, but we can prejudge someone just by their looks, and or even dating them for a few times and then just feeling inferior. When in actual fact, I think you can look at that as a strength and be curious again about it, because you can learn a lot from someone who is different to you. Obviously, there's an attraction, you know, the universe has drawn you together, that this may be an opportunity for growth. And, it's really interesting because I've had that happen to me several times, where I've had men that have, or I've even, dated and then just, just say, you're too much. I was like, I'm too much. How am I too much? Like, because even though alpha women are quite strong and powerful and command a room and everything, we're still very like tender and childlike on the inside. Let's face it,
absolutely.
we all are, but
We
we
all
try
are.
to, we probably disguise it a little bit better than others. So knowing that an alpha woman does have that soft vulnerable side, it's a way of it's all about how to navigate and get through to that part of her heart that is going to
Right.
win her, because ultimately she does want someone that just is going to support her, and that she also can support someone else in her life, support her man, be a strong, I mean, like, look at all these strong women that are beside these strong successful men,
Right.
and they are still strong and successful in their own way. I
In
mean,
there.
the first person that
Yes.
comes to mind is Barack Obama's wife, uh,
Yes. Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama. I mean, she is such a strong female figure that is
Right.
right beside her man, but yet she's still very strong and independent and has her own little life going on at the same time. And she's a mother and she's supportive and she's strong, and he is
Right.
too. But they've got this flow state going between them, which is
It's
beautiful.
beautiful to watch.
And
It is.
it can be created. It can be
Absolutely.
created. So
And that's the key word right there, though.
mhm,
Created.
mhm.
It's something you create over time. It's something you work at, I feel. It's not going to happen overnight. You know,
No.
um, it's definitely work.
Yeah, exactly. And what about boundaries? Setting boundaries with an alpha woman from a man's perspective. I mean, as a woman, do you love
The
boundaries?
only boundary that I have, the only boundary that I have, because I really don't, I'm a free spirit person.
Mm,
Um, I am free spirited, but The only boundary I have is when I want me time, give me time. That's
Mm.
it, you know. And I stand firm on that. Like, and I mean that from the husband, the kids, like I want me time. Like give me a space to just be able to sit back and relax for a second, whether it's to take a nap, read a book, just let me get away for that second. Whether and it's and I can't even say a second, it's about an hour. So um I think, but my husband also, and that was something that I had to learn though, because I'm so happy you actually gave me like it was validation and clarity for me um when you said maybe that was a sign for you to grow. And it was just like, ooh, I got goosebumps when you said that. See, I listened, I paid attention to things like that. That you spoke to my soul, you spoke to my spirit. And I was just like, wow, maybe I did meet my husband to grow. And this is why I'm on this path of, personal development and really, really talking about personal growth and wanting to be better and knowing that it's intentional. We have to be intentional about growing, right? Where
Mm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. So just share with us now, like you've gone through several career paths, but now you're into cryptocurrency. Okay. A lot of people out there are into cryptocurrency. And this is not to talk about go into cryptocurrency, but
no,
as a woman, right? And you're in a relationship, you've got children, you're married, and even for those that aren't married, but are in a very committed relationship. How's that worked for you? Because again, you're, stepping into your female empowered state of, yes, contributing to the family, possibly financially, but still maintaining that, mother, wife, sister relationship with everybody, friends. And how has your husband handled that? Where you're now going to be, you're the entrepreneur of this business that's about to take off, or has taken off and is growing steadily. How has he handled it, and what challenges has he
the
faced?
challenges okay, look, the challenges is constantly being on the calls. That's
Mhm.
the challenge for him, you know, because it's like you got another call, you got another call, and it's just like I get it, it's the beginning, but it's like within any entrepreneur business or any self employment business, you have to hustle and bustle in the beginning, right? You have to put up those sacrifices. You're not going to get paid for those long hours that you spend. You got to be able to build clientele, be able to network and things of that nature. So those have been challenges, I feel like, in when it comes to my career and building this whole new network marketing career, and just getting out there and working with people. He loves, now the good part about it is that he loves crypto. We both had our own experience in the crypto space, and seeing what it has done for the both of us. And we've actually been blessed with our beautiful house too, based off of crypto. But it's nice because we both can learn at the same time, because he's into the stock market. So
Mhm.
the fact that he's already into the financial market and that's kind of what he does as a living, you know, um, it's now I'm actually in a career where we both can kind of relate. He's telling me something about the stock market and we're like, oh, we're saying bearish and bullish, and we're converting certain words, and it's just like it feels good to be able to have this connection with him, where before he would talk about things and I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's kind of like the hair game. You and I can talk about it, but he's going to be like, what are you guys talking about? So to be in this whole new collaboration has
Mhm.
better our relationship.
Mhm.
We both want to, we're looking into coins. We're looking into like, oh, did you see X, Y, and Z? Did you see it today and what it was doing? So it's cool in that aspect.
Mm.
So
So was he open to it? Like you just doing this in the
absolutely.
beginning? He was? Okay.
Yeah, he
All
was totally up to it, open for it. Um, and at first it was, so he was open up, let me just say he was open up to the crypto space, right? But I feel like he wasn't so opened up to the community because it
Mm,
was something different. It was just like, why is my wife being pulled away and always on her laptop? Why she's always on Zoom calls? And especially like for an alpha male to see that I'm on a Zoom call with another male is like, you've never even met this guy. You're not getting paid. Like, what are you doing? You know? And it's just like for men, I just want to say out now out while I'm on this platform, it's just like when your wife is trying to pursue something, don't be intimidated by the other male if she's working with a male, you know. Please don't be intimidated because then now it puts her in the space. It puts her in the space of like, well, do you not trust me? Like, what is the issue? Because now learning all that I'm learning is just like now I become defensive and I'll be like, well, are you insecure? Well, what's going on? You know, so that's why it's always so important to communicate, you know, to know
right.
where you guys both stand, but also too, and then incorporate him. You know, I incorporate my husband. Like he may not get on my calls with me, but he's sitting right next to me when I have a call and he can see like I love my community. Like the organization is absolutely amazing, you know. And he was able to see the genuine people behind it.
Mm.
So that was a beautiful thing in itself. Yeah.
So would you
But we
say as a man, like, as a woman, sorry, as a woman, you like your man to be involved, right? To
oh,
get curious,
absolutely.
not insecurely,
Absolutely.
like not questioning in a way that's, is going to display insecurity because it only shuts a woman down because, if
Yes.
she's not displaying any kind of infidelity in any way, just purely being a strong, empowered woman in business, that should be something that should be embraced
Right.
and honored and treasured in your woman because at the end of the day, uh, it's a bit stagey, isn't it? Like as you're on that platform at that time with your community, it's purely business, and that's
Right.
all it is. And as a man, I think you have to display those qualities with a particularly an alpha woman, or else she's just going to shut down and think, oh, and it's control,
Right.
and you're not
And that's the
enabling your
thing.
woman
It's
to do
control.
her thing.
That's
Mm,
the first thing I think is like, okay, this feels like a sense of control. And I can't do that. I can't feel like I'm being controlled. That is like one of the topics that my husband and I, that was like one of our really first topics because my husband comes, his background is sales.
mhm,
So that should just tell you enough sales. So he's very, I get what I want type of person, you know? So I've had to teach him how to speak to me too. You know, like you can't talk to me in a certain way because I'm going to then, you know, I guess lash out. And it's
be on the
just like, yeah, be very defensive. And it's just and it's nice because this is why I always say communicate, communicate, communicate.
mm,
When you communicate, he then says, I didn't mean it in the way you're taking it. And I'm like, okay, but you know, you might have not meant it, but your aura, your mannerism, the way you coming off, it feels that way. The energy feels that way, you know.
right.
So let's tone it down a little. You know, I'm your wife. I'm not I'm not another person you're trying to sell a car to or something of that sense, you know. So for me, I think I'm always gonna go back to communication.
Communication.
It's
No,
so
key. It's key because we're not mind readers. I always say that to people, whether it be a male or female, we're not mind readers, and we certainly don't know what that other person means by that. So if you question it, if you ask with curiosity and compassion and listen, you're going to get the right and obviously ask the right questions in the right mannerism. You're going to get the answers you're looking for and the understanding as to why that question was asked. Because, don't forget, we've all had a past, we've all had, events and trauma and trigger right and center when something happens that, that chain of events will all just like accumulate to that one time that something's been said and, um, someone can just explode, whether it be a male or female. because of those chain of events and triggers been going off. So yeah, that's really, really important. What about, last question here, which I think is really important, allowing emotional flexibility. Now, what I mean by this is, you know, allowing an alpha woman to be emotional, and, obviously for a man as well, because when you don't allow that flexibility, because she can be quite strong, and a man also may have this strong woman where he takes her for granted that she's always strong, and there's
Right.
no room for,
Right.
or there's no room for that
There's no room for it. Yeah.
flexibility in emotional outbursts, because we have them
Right.
all, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
women. We have cycles. We have emotions. We're just like so emotionally.
Well, one, we're all ruled by our emotions. If people were really to understand that, like, as much as they may think consciously that your conscious mind is controlling you, it's not. And I feel like that's so important. I feel like if I would have learned that so much sooner in life, I would be like, wow, it would save so many people. And the fact that it's mental awareness month, in the month of May, I feel like people need to know, like, we're ruled by our subconscious mind, and that's our emotional mind. So as much
Yeah,
as you may consciously think that you're doing something out of a conscious decision, it's really not. It's out of a emotional decision.
right, right. So, what would you share with men in that case when your woman's having a little hissy fit?
I think allow her to to a certain extent. I don't know, like, how crazy women can get. Women can get pretty crazy, but I say allow her to. It's healthy. It's healthy to cry. It's healthy to get some anger issues, not anger issues, but it's healthy to just get anger out of you. I think it's just healthy for anybody. We need it
Mm,
every once in a while. I
yeah.
never understood it when my mom used to be like, she'd be like, I just need to cry. And I'd be like, what do you mean? But then I became that person, growing up. I'm like, wow, I was like, I just need to cry. There's nothing to cry about, but I just need to cry, whether it's happy tears or not happy tears. So I would definitely say allow your woman to be able to do that. And not only in that sense too, be compassionate with her when she does that, because it shows her and it reassures her, like, my significant other is here. My significant other, even though he knows I'm a strong woman. He knows I'm this fierce woman. I know that he's still here to hold me and give me this love and this compassion that I need in this moment. We always want to still be reassured that our significant other loves us, and really genuinely is being there. And I
Mm,
feel like that's very important, because we're not robots. We're not, He-Man, just all the, yeah, granted we might be, but everybody needs love. The world revolves around love. Everybody
yeah.
needs love.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. This has been quite an interesting conversation. Thank you, Gianni. I really appreciate you for being here
Thank
and
you.
sharing some of your nuggets and experiences. So, what would you say, what point would you leave our men with today, and women possibly, because, women need to hear this as well, as far as uh, to make a relationship work with an alpha woman, or to empower her and empower yourself, to be able to have that amazing relationship, because it may be challenging in the
I
beginning.
say, I say focus on you.
Mhm.
Focus on you to the point where you make yourself better, that person is then going to be just as better. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, literally, like, me being better can only better my family.
Mm,
My husband being better can only better our unity. So
mm,
my thing to men and women out there, like, focus on you. Really, really get in tune with who you are, right? Find out your characteristics, find out your trigger points, find out things. When we start to find out really more about who we are inside, we then can communicate that with our person, you know, whoever we decide to be with, and we can say, you know, this things about ourselves. And then, you know, there could be moments where somebody can do something or say something, and then you notice something new about yourself, something that you're like, wow, I would have reacted in this way and I no longer react in that way, right? So you're starting to learn who you are. So I just really encourage people to do a lot of personal development. And I just want to touch on this subject real quick. And I say that because I lost my mom at the age of 19, and I am now about to be 35 on Monday. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Um,
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I literally came across personal development a year and a half ago, and it has completely changed my life. It has been like the guidance of everything, you know, and it's to deal with mental health, right? It's being aware of things that I feel like a lot of people are not aware of, you know,
Mm,
and it goes back into relationships. If we want to have a better relationship, we then have to communicate better, right?
mhm.
Understand each other,
Yes.
really learn each other. In order for us to do that is by really focusing on ourselves, really developing ourselves, really learning who we are. So I want to say thank you guys. I appreciate your time. I respect your time. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you again for having me on your platform. I appreciate
Yeah.
you. You're such a sweetheart. And yes,
Thank you. Well, I'm grateful for you, and I
energies.
thank you for being here as well. And for the audience out there, if you have any questions, any comments on this topic, please, you know, if you're watching it on the replay, let us know, hashtag replay, and, you know, share what you think. You may disagree, and that's fine, you know,
Mhm.
it's perfect. Everyone's allowed to have their own
Have their
opinion.
own opinion.
Absolutely. But if you need any help, reach out, and you know, be sure to also follow me at the Gentleman Square on YouTube. I have all the social platforms. I'll put a link on the feed here as well. And also, if anyone wants to be on my show, please let me know, because, you know, I like having everyone, just interesting people from all walks of life with different relationship topics as we go along. So thank you once again, Gianni. Um, love having you on the show. All the very
Thank
best with
you.
your business. And,
Thank
you know,
you. You as well.
I'm just so happy for, you know, a wonderful relationship that you have with, you know, a great man who's supportive and loving of what you do and who you are. So
Thank you.
thank you once again. And again, sending everyone lots of love and passion. And bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.